right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest joining us now on the bottom line. First and foremost, I want to thank my co-host to my left here because he's the one that set up this interview. So this is very, very personal for him, and it's a big deal. And rightfully so, he's one of the young rising stars in the American Hockey League. He played for the Indy Fuel, he played for the Rockford Icehogs, and now he is a member of the Chicago Wolves and the Carolina Hurricanes organization. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have on the one and only Zach Jordan. Zach, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing well. How about you guys? Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, the pleasure is all ours. We are doing, all things considered, pretty good. It's just been very hectic as far as personal life is concerned, but we're hanging in. But we're not going to waste any more time and jump straight into this. Austin, I know this is personal to you, but I got a couple questions first, my guy. I apologize, but you know
Take the
me.
shit, take it.
Thank you. But anyone who knows me knows I love origin stories. I can't help it. I have to know how a person got started in a certain field. So, with that being said, how did you first garner interest in the game of hockey?
Well, I actually saw, yeah, I'm from Southern Illinois, like right outside of St. Louis, and really the interest came from my dad played like floor hockey and then roller hockey, and when I was like 1, 2 years old, I would always be watching or whatever and watching games at home and just really loved it, and from then on just started getting into the game, and they got me a pair of skates I think when I was like 2, and then just loved the game from then on. So yeah, kind of started then and started wheeling around 2, started playing at like think I was 4 turning 5 or 5 turning 6, somewhere right around there. And yeah, just been it's been a journey for sure.
Was there any specific hockey player that you grew up watching as a kid that was your biggest inspiration for wanting to play?
I mean, I wouldn't say like inspiration for wanting to play. I definitely had like my favorite players. When I was younger, I was actually a D man when I started out, and Al McInnes was a big name in St. Louis here, so I was a big fan
Oh.
of him. And but I mean, my parents really kind of inspired me to like keep going, and like I found something I liked, and they wanted or they were fully supporting me, so it was cool just playing hockey and having a blast with it overall. That was what kind of kept me going with it.
Yeah, no, Al McInnes certainly is one of the more one of the names that I don't think really gets talked about all that much anymore, considering what he did for the Blues organization back in his heyday when you had a lot more what's the proper word? More, I don't want to say more tougher guys, because guys are tough in the NHL and AHL nowadays, but when you were able to get more physical back in his days, what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say,
yeah,
considering
the
what
old
he
school
did.
NHL.
What's
Yeah, the
that?
old school and the old school NHL.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That was definitely more of your heyday. Obviously, I grew up with the '90s Rangers. I'm a Ranger fan for obvious reasons. That's my mom's doing, but no, I definitely grew up with the more old school NHL. Who was your favorite team growing up?
Well, being from like the St. Louis area, I was always a Blues fan, and like here when they won the Cup in 2019, it was pretty cool that with them finally getting it done, and we we were watching all the games and like really dialed in with it, and we were down there for the Cup parade and stuff, so it was really cool. And I mean, still a fan at heart and wish them the best, but obviously kind of things have changed a bit now and have to kind of support other teams too.
No, I feel it there. I actually want to ask you something about that 2019 Stanley Cup before I throw it to Austin here. You know, the story that came out that year about that young woman, Layla Anderson, with what she was going through. And when they won the cup, you saw Colton Parayko developed a really good friendship with her. I thought that was really, really awesome. Describe what that meant to you, seeing that friendship between someone who's going through a lot, who's just a huge fan, who's just supporting them, and somebody like Colton Parayko, who's just an overall genuine guy, just making friends with this young girl, supporting her fight. Tell me what that meant to you personally watching that.
I mean, overall, I just thought like seeing it, I thought it was really cool, and like just seeing how her story developed. And I think it just goes to show, like in the NHL and all the leagues that trickle down, that there's some really good people in the game of hockey just overall. And Colton Perico is obviously one of those guys. And I think just like you were saying, just overall, it's just a really cool and heartfelt story being able to see how that happened, it all developed, and the end, obviously with the end leading to the Stanley Cup too, was pretty cool as well, also.
No, I agree with you. We're talking to Zach Jordan here on the bottom line, current player of the Chicago Wolves organization, part of the Carolina Hurricanes, who, by the way, breaking news if you didn't hear, they just signed an agreement to be partners again. So congratulations to you guys there. But Austin, you're the one who set this up. The floor is yours, my guy.
So I know we talked about this in the DMs the other day, but what really was that injury that put you out for the rest of the year during the playoff run with Indy?
Yeah, so it was day before the game 5 of playoffs down there. We were
Hmm.
practicing and I actually took a puck right here.
Hmm.
Oh,
So yeah, I took a puck and the way it happened, actually visor probably saved my eye, but when it happened, it fractured my orbital bone in 3 spots. So I ended up having to have it happened April 26th and then had to have surgery May 1st. And yeah, just been recovering from that now. So it's been going well. Surgery went well, just a terrible time for it to happen. So kind of got had to get past that aspect of it, just brutal timing with everything, but grateful surgery went well and just recovery's been going well. So been looking at the positives. So
That's all you can do is look at positives.
yep.
And I mean, you know me well from countless games, whether it be Rockford or making the trip to Rosemont to see you when you went and were traded to the Wolves. Now, who were your closest teammates that you got to be around, whether that was with the Rockford organization or with the Wolves?
So in Rockford, I was definitely close with Cale Howarth and like Andrew Perrott, those guys.
Howie and
Uh, yeah. Just I mean, Howie's just an overall good dude, but I mean, really, a lot of the guys in Rockford were good guys. Like
Mhm.
Tepley was a good dude. Hardy was always cracking jokes. Like there were a lot of just good dudes in that locker room, and like everybody got along pretty well. And then on the Wolves, like the Wolves were definitely just a different like setup in the lock, not setup, but just dynamic. There were a lot more
Mhm.
older guys with families, so like I was close with Shield and Franco and
Mhm.
Wagner, like those guys. They were there. I mean, there were a lot of good dudes on the team still. It was just people were in different walks of life at that time. I
Mhm.
mean, there's guys like Chris Terry's going home to a family, and I'm going home and not having little kids running around. So it's just a bit different, you know?
Mhm.
no, I actually want to bounce off. I'm sorry to cut you off, Austin. I'll get back to you in a
No,
second.
go
I actually
ahead.
want to bounce off of what Austin asked you because I wanted to ask you. Obviously, I'm not around you guys much, so I don't know for sure. Were you able to play with Auntie Ranta by any chance during the season last year?
Yeah. So I was with
Okay, all
Chicago when
right.
he was there. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so that was gonna lead into my next question because obviously he's a former Ranger goalie. I admire him. Is he a nice guy? That's all I want to know.
Oh, awesome dude. One of the best guys ever. And you know, I mean, here like guys at that part of their career, they could come down and be upset with what's happening. And he came down and I mean, just wanted to win and have fun with the guys and
Mhm.
didn't matter who you were in the room. He was talking to you and just wanted to enjoy everybody's presence and make the most of it. So I have nothing but good things to say about him. He was awesome.
That's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
I do want to ask you this as well because I've seen my fair share of hockey intros. You know, when the players are getting ready to go on the ice. The Chicago Wolves intro is probably no, I haven't seen it in person, but I've seen plenty of video and Austin, I can see he's getting himself fixed up here, but he actually posted a video on our TikTok at Bottomline WMCX. And by the way, you should go follow us there and follow us on all social media as well on the same handle. He posted a video of the Chicago Wolves pregame intro. And I gotta say, that's probably one of the coolest intros I've ever seen. Every
It's
time
it's
you
pretty
watch that,
crazy,
do
eh?
you think the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, when we're in the locker room, we don't really get to see the show, but it's I mean, you see it in the tunnel sometimes. It's a lot going on in there, especially all the fireworks. It's amazing. It's safe for people to be inside with all that going on, but it's
I
they
was
definitely
gonna,
they
I was
definitely
gonna
do a
say
lot with
that.
it.
That's what I was gonna say. A, how is that even safe having that many fireworks in an indoor arena? And B, how many, Austin, how many seats does Allstate Arena hold for AHL games?
Uh, Beats me. It's a
Yeah, well,
lot.
Yeah.
probably close to like what, 8,000 people, I would think. Like it's a smaller arena, so you'd think that there would be proper safety
It's not
guidelines, which there
really.
probably are. But even
It's
still,
not
it's like
really that
how is
small.
that safe?
I mean, here I'd say it probably seats 8 to 10,000. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably
Okay.
around there, maybe even more. So it's a
Because I
pretty
was gonna
big
say,
arena
I'm pretty sure
still.
it's a little larger than the BMO is.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
okay,
it's
okay.
probably seats a little bit more than the BMO.
Gotcha. Okay. Because Austin, you talked about how small the BMO was. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, it's the BMO Arena, home of the Rockford Icehogs. How many can that hold, Austin?
That I don't know either.
Ah,
I need to do my research.
I'd say BMO is probably like 5 to 6,000, but which
okay.
it's a good size though. Like it's when it's packed in there, it does get loud. So like it's good size for an American League city as well, I'd
Hmm.
say.
I gotcha. No, I was just curious because that intro is badass, but I'm just like, that's not safe. With all those people close to the glass, it could get, I don't know, man. Maybe that's just me, but I still
They've
find the
got it
intro
figured out.
badass.
Yeah, they know what they're doing, I guess.
Sure
So
sounds like it.
I've got a question for Jordo.
Go ahead, Austin.
This, sir, was your first Rockford puck.
All right.
Oh,
Do you remember how that one came about?
Like my first goal.
That was the first Rockford goal.
Yeah, that was Rocco hit me with coming down the wall against Colorado or coming down the
Hmm.
slot almost. Yeah.
wow.
That's
And you
Yeah.
still hold on to that as a memento.
oh yeah. I fought tooth and nail. I fought tooth and nail for that puck. So when was able to get my hand on it, that was mine. It looks good.
I can see why you have to put up with him on almost a weekly basis every time he comes out to watch it, Zach. I'm
Wow, I see how it
No,
is.
I'm only
no,
kidding
it's
around. We're talking to Zach Jordan here on the bottom line. Now, you've had your share of playoff experiences. Obviously, you were loaned to the Indy Fuel for the playoffs because unfortunately the Wolves did not make it. But what was it like? What is it like for you? Because I can't differentiate between AHL playoffs and Stanley Cup playoffs. For you personally, from an AHL point of view, what are the playoffs like? Is it the same atmosphere? Is the atmosphere a little bit different? Like, what is it like for you personally?
I mean here like I mean it's the same type of aspect as how it is in the NHL playoffs. Things get ramped up, things change a bit where it's like, hey, it's playoff time where, things aren't going to be as easy. Games are going to be tougher. You're seeing the same team again for at least depending on what it is, a 3 or 5 or 7 game series, you're seeing the team again. So, it's going to be you're in for a battle every night. And I mean, I think yeah, obviously it's a little bit different fan wise in the American Hockey League compared to the NHL, but the overall atmosphere of the play is mirrors the NHL and the intensity and how the play picks up.
That's what I like to hear. Now, as far as you're concerned, you mentioned before that you were recovering from injury. Any timetable on whether or not you'll be ready on time for opening night next year?
Oh yeah, so luckily the recovery, so if we were actually in season right now, I'd be able to play a game July 1st. So
Oh
recovery
wow,
wise,
okay.
yeah. So luckily it's only about a 2 month recovery, and with that it's mostly just being careful with not having any trauma in that area.
No, I totally get it. Now, I brought this up before, but I want to bring it up again. And I'm sorry if this question is a bit too personal, so you can cut me off if you'd like. Um, the Chicago Wolves recently signed a deal to reemerge as an affiliate with the Carolina Hurricanes. With that being said, do you expect your name to be called up to Carolina at some point? And if not, what do you have to do to make sure that that opportunity does come for you? Because I'll be honest, I see you getting up to the NHL level at some point, but what do you have to do personally to make sure that you are able to get to that level?
Well, I appreciate that. And actually, so the way with like how my contract was, so last year when I was with the or with a where I was on a 1 year deal. So when I signed with Rockford, it was a 1 year deal. And so now with the when I was with the Wolves, now I'm really a free agent now. So like right now, I'm just looking to. I mean, hockey was kind of on the back burners with recovering for a bit, so just was focused
Gotcha.
on that. So kind of now it's just waiting it out and seeing what comes about options wise, like talking with my agent and stuff like that. But I mean, here it's the NHL's it's obviously it's everybody's dream to play in it, and there's a lot you have to do and a lot that has to go right. And I think, I mean, for me, if like I were to be able to make that jump, I would have to really have to like show what I can do, like being I am with my size and speed, just really take that next step and be able to put it all together because I have it. It's just I would have to be able to showcase that and consistently in games and stuff. So that's kind of how you have to make that jump.
And hey, listen, again, I fully believe that you have that potential. I actually watched I got the chance to watch the Wolves and Rockford game this past season on NHL Network, and I did see you out there. You look pretty good from what I saw. So I definitely can see you jumping to the NHL level at some point. So I do wish you the best of luck, though. Seriously.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course. Austin, you got anything to add, my boy?
I do. I would. My next question is: out of all the cities that you visited as for road games, what has been your favorite as a visit spot?
Grand Rapids is actually a really good spot. I mean, weather-wise, it's kind of tough sometimes when you're there in January or February, but it's a cool city and there's a lot of
Mhm.
good restaurants and stuff right around there. And then I mean here Austin's always a good spot too when there's nice weather down there. It's nice when you can go down there and enjoy the warm weather for a bit and maybe get a little break from wherever you're at, be it Rockford or Rosemont. So those have definitely been two of the cooler ones I've played in. And then with my coast experience, like I mean, I was in the South Division, so I was playing in Fort Myers,
Mhm.
Atlanta, Georgia. So like some of those cities are just really cool and just it's nice when you're always in the warm weather down there.
Well, that was going to be my next question to you, Zach. When you're traveling, do you prefer warm weather or cold weather? Because I know hockey happens in the cold, I get that, but do you prefer warm or cold weather?
Oh, during the season, absolutely warm weather.
Thank you! Thank
Yeah,
you! Somebody else who agrees with me. Thank you.
yeah. Winnipeg's a nice city, but it's no fun going there in February.
No fun going to Manitoba in February.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I can imagine. I mean, look, I've heard good things about Canada overall, especially Winnipeg, but I'm sorry, you can't pay me enough to stand out there in freaking 5-degree weather and not expect me to be comfortable because I am not going to be I'd rather be in my hotel room with a nice fire and watching some hockey. That's all I want.
Yep,
See,
there you go.
I can't say much because Jordo caught me standing out in negative 15-degree weather one night.
Yeah. There's been some
I
cold
remember
nights
you
in
telling me
Rockford and
that.
Chicago.
Yeah. And every time I was standing out there, somebody had to say something.
We're talking to Zach Jordan here on the bottom line. I want to ask you about some Stanley Cup playoffs. You've been paying attention to them, right?
Yeah, so in the beginning, things were that was kind of when all this stuff was going on. I wasn't too dialed in, but past couple rounds I've been watching, and it's been really cool to watch. That the Edmonton Dallas series was really fun, especially that last game,
Mm.
seeing
Oh.
McDavid just prove why he is who he is.
Why he
Mm.
is him.
Yeah,
100%. And I gotta be honest though, Zach, we got spoiled with these conference final series between the Rangers and Panthers and Dallas and Edmonton. I mean, granted, at my expense, my team lost, so I can't say much. But in all honesty, though, in all honesty, fandom aside, both those series were a blast to watch. I mean, can you ask for anything better? That's why it's called playoff hockey.
no, absolutely. I know they were two hard fought series, and it'll be interesting to see how these two decide or how Florida and Edmonton battle it out for the final here.
100%. Do you have a Stanley Cup final pick?
I want to see McDavid win one just because I mean, just for him to establish himself as one of the like he is one of the greats, but all the
Yeah.
greats have a cup, so
Mhm.
it'd be cool to see that happen. But on the other hand, it's been really cool seeing how the game of hockey's developed in Florida, and they finally have a good team now, so that's cool to see too.
Mm, yeah, I mean, it's tough for me personally. I've had to go back and forth on this series, but as much as I would like to see McDavid win one, I mean, I just think that Florida overall is the much better team, at least on the more of the like overall like aspect. Like they're great off both teams are great offensively, but where I think Florida shines is forechecking. and that proved it against the Rangers. I mean, they were just aggressive all series long. So I think that's going to give Edmonton some problems. So I like the Panthers to win in 7.
You're thinking in 7? Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I hope it goes 7 no matter who wins, honestly.
I hope so too.
I mean, as much as
Austin, you got a pick?
I mean, as much as I keep saying that, I would love to see Edmonton do it. I mean, Zach Hyman, I've watched him since he played with the Leafs. So
Mm,
I would love to see Hyman get a cup, but at the same time, Florida's a completely different beast than what Edmonton's gone throughout the whole run of the cup this year.
yeah.
Like they're not letting in very many goals. Bobrovsky's got an idea on what he's doing in the net,
Oof.
but at the same time, Florida's forecheck. I don't feel like there's a way to stop it sometimes.
No, there isn't. There isn't. I mean, I really don't think that there's no slowing it down. You know, they jump down your throats. You know, they're pressuring the neutral zone. I mean, Bobrovsky's a Vezina candidate for a reason. He has just been lighting it up this year. I've been pleasantly surprised by him. But what Stuart Skinner did for Edmonton the past few games has really impressed me. And you know, I do kind of owe him an apology because I may or may not have said I don't trust him in the playoffs because goaltending has always been Edmonton's biggest issue. And I called him out on my other podcast, From the Blue Seats, the New York Rangers podcast. And you should go subscribe to that, by the way. I'll leave a link down below. But I digress. I didn't trust him, and he shut me up. He shut me up. He proved me wrong, and I stand down. I apologize. But that was going to lead me into my next question for you. You've had your fair share of good goaltenders throughout your career so far. Who's been the best one that you've played in front of so far?
I mean, with Ranta coming down in Chicago, it's kind of hard to pick past that guy. He's already had that much NHL experience. But I mean, Comesso and Rockford actually. I mean, for young guy, really, really promising kid, really like just a good dude overall as well, and loves the game, loves his craft. So like, I think he really could be a promising player. And I mean, he's good already. So it'll be exciting to see what he's able to do.
And I mean, the goaltending tandem they have here in Rockford now with Stobbs and Drew,
Yep.
they're two of the hottest goalies in the league right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would love to see them go further with this tandem.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, before we let you go, I have one more question for you. To any of the young people out there who want to pursue hockey as a career, what would your message be to them?
I mean, there's a lot of things you can say here I mean, there's a lot of things I wish I knew it when I was younger, but I mean, I think the biggest thing is that I had to kind of learn, and I think everybody needs to learn, is there's going to be setbacks. And I think the biggest thing with no matter how big the setback is, no matter when it happens, how old you are, it's how can you come back from it and how can you learn from it and come back better from it. So I think it's being able to be open-minded to learning and growing, and you'll be able to make a lot of ground up even after setbacks if you're able to take it all in and learn and try to put your best foot forward after that.
That's 100% accurate. I think with everything in life as well, not just sports, but that goes to show you, hey, you get knocked down, you get right back up. That's the beauty of life. You just keep moving forward. But Zach, this was such a pleasure, my man. It was nice to meet you. I'm sorry that you have to put up with my co-host every now and then. But in all seriousness, thank you so much for joining us. This was such a blast, and I hope we get to do it again real, real soon. You're awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem, boys. Appreciate you. Thank you for having me. And it's not he's never nagging us or anything like that. So we appreciate the support, and he's just out there, and we all appreciate it. So you don't have he doesn't have to do that. He could just be a fan, but we appreciate it. So
Doesn't matter if
thanks for.
Jordo's learned it doesn't matter if it's a win or a loss. I'm sitting out there.
Yep.
Hey, you know what? That just shows you how big of a fan Austin is of you, and I'm glad that he was able to set this up for us. But anytime you want to come back on the show, you let us know, and we will make it happen. But thank you again, Zach. This was such a blast.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, boys.
Anytime. He is Zach Jordan of the Chicago Wolves organization. Thanks again to him for joining us alongside Mr. Taco, aka Austin Myers. My name is Jimmy. This is The Bottom Line. Have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, and we'll catch you next time. Peace and take care.